Hello StreetSnappers, and if you're watching this in early January, Happy New Year to you. Now we all make mistakes all the time, and street photography is no exception. I make mistakes, you make mistakes, we all do, and we all move on from them. But hopefully we all learn from them. I've worked as a documentary and street photographer for a long time, and in teaching these skills to others, I've identified 13 common street photography mistakes. Let's have a look. Before we dig into some of these mistakes, I've really got to hold my hand up and say that I make them too. We all make them, and there's no shame in that. But the important thing is to recognise some of the mistakes we make. And that recognition is the first stop towards eliminating them from our shooting. So here are some of the mistakes that I regularly come across. Mistake number one, and perhaps this is the most common one, and that's to let fear get in the way. And we all have some degree of fear, whether it's a tiny bit or whether it's abject terror, but it can take over and we worry way too much about what people think. The fact is that most people are so self-absorbed out there on the streets, especially in the bigger towns and cities, that they're not in the least bit interested in you or what you're doing. The two best things you can do to minimise your discomfort are firstly to desensitise yourself from the situation, and that means practising relentlessly, which we should all be doing anyway. And secondly, and this is the killer tip, avoid eye contact when shooting out on the streets. And I'll be making a more in-depth video shortly about conquering your fears in street photography, so stay tuned for that. I see a lot of a real lack of concentration when I see street photographers out there working. If you want to be good at this, you've really got to be in the zone, in the moment, and totally focused on what you're doing. So tune out any distractions, keep your phone in your pocket, turn the music off and stop chimping. And chimping, if you're not familiar with the term, is looking at the image you've just taken on the back of the screen. And I see people do it all the time. Don't do it. If you've ever watched any really good street photographers at work, you'll notice that they're completely focused on their environment, observing, finding detail, making connections. They're completely tuned in. I see a lot of street photographers putting pressure on themselves to come up with a load of great pictures at the end of the day, a card full of keepers. And honestly, it's never going to happen. So don't cause yourself stress by putting pressure on yourself to shoot loads of great images all the time. If I spend a day on the streets, I'm quite happy to go home with 1, 2, 3 keepers. Sometimes it's none, which is fine. And this is a good place. This is where you should be. Street photography is a long game. It's a slow game where patience really pays off. So just relax and let everything fall into place. Most people walk too quickly and they're really missing out on what's going on around them. I mentioned earlier about being in the zone, in the moment, and that's much more likely to happen if you walk around slowly. You'll find that you see more, you hear more, you smell things that you'd otherwise miss. All your senses will become tuned in, more alert, and you'll really start to read the streets, and this is when the magic starts to happen. So slow down. Fifth tip. It's very tempting sometimes to fall into cliche territory with street photography, and yes, I accept that everyone does it early on. Some people carry on doing it. I think I do it from time to time, but it's almost a rite of passage. And some of these cliches, these tropes are really overused and lack originality. And I'm sure you know what I mean by this. It's the woman in the red hat who's also carrying a red bag. It's someone sitting in a cafe window just drinking a cup of coffee. It's someone walking past some street art or graffiti. It's a guy walking through a beam of light, but worst of all, it's just somebody walking, doing nothing, and there's nothing at all interesting about the picture. So here's a good test you can apply to your pictures. Firstly, is there an interesting moment? Secondly, is there a strong aesthetic? Or thirdly, does the image tell a story? Does it convey a narrative? 3 things there. Any one of those 3 and your picture is probably working. You're good to go. And this is my personal litmus test for myself when I'm unsure that whether an image is going to have any real appeal. Shooting from too far away is a common mistake, and get in close has long been one of the teaching mantras in street photography. Perhaps it's a little overplayed, and we certainly shouldn't treat this as an absolute, but I do see a lot of people who are maybe new to street photography who are just not getting close enough. Now, that's not to say that you need to be in people's faces, but as Robert Capa famously said, if your pictures aren't good enough, you aren't close enough. And that has some truth in it. This closeness in street photography, this concept of proximity often helps bring more drama or emotion or intimacy to a frame. And it's a perspective or a feeling that you just wouldn't get from shooting across the road with a long lens, or even worse, shooting across the road from a wide lens and then cropping and cropping and cropping till you get this tiny little bit of interest in your frame and you've lost loads of quality. And if you're shooting from too far away, it often means that there are lots of insignificant or meaningless things in your frame. So when you're taking a shot, assuming you have the luxury of time, always think, could I get a little closer? Being creepy is a strange one, and I see it happening a lot. I was walking around Soho the other day and I spotted a guy who was clearly doing street photography, and he looked just really creepy. He was so obviously trying to disguise what he was doing that he really looked like he was up to no good. And I got chatting to him, and he gave me this little lecture on street photography being all about stealth and being invisible and all that. And yeah, that's fine up to a point, but there's stealth and there's stealth. And we all need to shoot quickly and ideally not be noticed. But if you take this too far, it can have the opposite effect. And you could just end up looking like a weirdo. So don't hide what you're doing. Be proud of what you're doing, and don't worry too much about being outed as a street photographer. And please remember, the more normal you behave, the less you'll stand out. Many photographers I meet have an obsession about keeping the ISO as low as possible in street photography. And we've got to have a different mindset. Because the street is a dynamic place with lots of activity, lots of movement, having a fast shutter speed is really important in daylight conditions, and I try to shoot with a speed of at least a 200th of a second, ideally faster. The faster the better. And if this means having a high ISO to make that happen, so be it. I would much rather have that tiny bit of extra noise than a picture that's completely unusable because of camera shake or subject blur. And if you'd like to dig deeper into the camera settings I use for street photography, check out this video which I did on camera settings. If you plan to hit the streets with no real idea of what you're looking for, you're planning to fail, and you're more likely to go home empty-handed. There's a lot of luck involved in street photography, and sometimes things just don't happen for us. But if we're using projects as a vehicle for organising our work, we're much more likely to be productive and fulfilled. So hit the streets with a couple of projects in mind. But okay, you still focus on the stuff that's going around you, the moments, the great thing happening over there. That's the bonus. But if you're working on projects, if you've got 1, 2, 3, maybe more projects spinning around in your mind all the time, there's always something for you to shoot. Now, post-production, don't get me started on this one. Right, deep breath here. Street photography is all about authenticity, providing a truthful record, an accurate record of our observations. Once we start to distort the reality of what we saw, it's becoming a kind of visual untruth. I hate to use a word as strong as a lie, but I see some street images with crazy HDR effects, massive overuse of the clarity slider, and maybe worst of all, wacky HDR effects. Really, there's no place for this in street photography. See the world as you would with a film camera and record reality, so minimum post-production. Now the next one, gear. Please don't be obsessed with gear. Don't be thinking that spending loads of money on gear will make you a better photographer, because it won't. Okay, it may help you to enjoy your passion a bit more, and it might make you feel good about what you do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But please don't be under the impression that a £5 camera will improve your skills, because it won't. It's far better to spend that hard-earned cash on stuff like education, books, travel, exhibitions, all that kind of stuff. This sort of inspirational stuff, the creative stuff, this is what's going to make you a better street photographer, not the gear. It's very easy to put your camera to your eye every time and get all your shots with the same perspective. And some would say it's a cop-out, the easy option, and it doesn't really require as much thinking. But street photography is a very fluid and relaxed pursuit, and you'll find that by varying your perspective, you could bring so much more spark and energy into your street photography. So my advice is to mix things up a bit. Don't shoot it all from eye level. Try something dramatic, unusual, uncomfortable maybe, and just see what happens. And the last mistake, number 13, is this is all about social media. Now, social media is great, but boy, it has a lot to answer for. How many times do we see a picture posted on Instagram by a name, only to see it copied hundreds or thousands of times, the same style, the same location, the same subjects, whatever. Or maybe a new look will suddenly become fashionable and widely used. Last year it was all about making your images green and calling them cinematic. It's not really for street photography, if I'm honest. And don't get me wrong, I've nothing against using great work for inspiration. We should all do it. I do it. But we should remember just to aim to be a little bit original in what we do. So don't be a slave to social media, be a master of it. Don't take a picture because it will work well on Instagram. Take it because you want to take it. And if it works well on Instagram, that's great. That's a bonus. Well done. So there we have it. 13 mistakes. As I said at the beginning, we all make them. And I think we need to remember that street photography is an art, not a science. And whatever you do, even if you make the mistakes, if it works for you, then I guess it works. If you can try to eliminate some of these mistakes from what you do, then there's no doubt you'll be a better street photographer. But you know what? We do this for fun. So whatever you do, enjoy it. Well, that's all for today. I promise you, I did a while ago, I promised you an updated video about projects, and this is in the pipeline and probably coming up next. So please stay tuned for that. Thanks as always for watching. I love reading your comments and answering your questions, so do please keep them coming. So have a great week ahead, and hopefully see you next time. Bye for now.